Except Buick. Don't have one.
All right, good evening. We're going to call the meeting to order tonight. I want to welcome everyone out tonight to our September 3rd meeting of County Commissioners. At this time, I'm going to ask Reverend Anita Thompson of First Baptist Church here in Wadesboro to, and as you're coming to the podium, I just want to bring attention to our fellow commissioner, or Commissioner Little Reed's sister, Miss Veronica Parsons, passed away yesterday evening. So I ask that you keep her and her family in our prayers as you pray.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's pray together. God of all creation, this evening elected leaders of Anson County, as well as others who also care for this community, have gathered to do good and important work. As assessments are made of various aspects of this county's government and its citizens, we pray for patience to listen well and wisdom to make good decisions. May concern for all neighbors, guide this meeting. And we offer our prayer for this family in their loss, O God. All of this we ask of you this day. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, this time I'm going to read our ethics statement. So in accordance with the State Government Ethics Act, it is the duty of every board member to avoid both conflicts of interest and appearances of conflict. Does any board member have any known conflict of interest or appearance of conflict with respect to any matter coming before the board tonight? If so, please identify the conflict and refrain from any undue participation in the particular matter involved. So any conflicts tonight? All right, then we'll hear a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
A motion by Commissioner Smith, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, at this time we're going to recognize some young ladies here in the room. The King Elite All-Star Cheerleading Program was created to provide young athletes with the opportunity to compete nationwide. This squad has gone to several regions and remains undefeated at their level, winning the national championship for the second time in a row. The national competition this year was held at Biloxi, Mississippi. The team competed against 5 other teams nationally for this championship title. So at this time, I'm going to present the King Elite All-Stars with a plaque.
All right. Congratulations.
Yes, sir. All right, the Anson County Board of Commissioners recognizes the King Elite All-Stars for their outstanding performance and dedication to the cheerleading program. So way to go and represent Anson County at its finest. So congratulations.
All right.
Ellie, if you want me to.
Thank you all.
I'm gonna see if I can get this young man to stand up every time. I don't know where you stand with each other.
All right, congratulations.
They've been traveling.
Biloxi, Mississippi.
Thank you all.
All right.
If you could put that energy in a bottle, we'd have some.
That's right.
More energy.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into a public hearing for the fiscal year 2026 admin and capital budgets of the ACTS.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Bricken. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Good evening. I hope everybody's doing well tonight.
It's that time of year for me to apply for the fiscal year 2026 admin and capital grants. This year, they're giving me the allowance of $176,138 for the admin. The federal share is 80%, which is $140,910. The state's 5%, $8,806, and the local share will be 15%, which is $26,422. The capital this year is a total of $705,800. The reason that is so high this go round is I'm replacing 6 vehicles. The local share for that is $70,580. The state is 10% as well as the local, which is the same amount, and the federal is 80% at $564,640, which is a total of $881,938, and the local match for both will be $97,002.
All right. Are there any questions for Ms. Byrd on this proposed funding? All right. At this time, is there any questions from the public, since this is a public hearing? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain. Is that Ms. Byrd? Is that all? Okay. Yes, sir.
One question. I think you said you're replacing 6 vehicles. So, what overall? Once these vehicles are in place, what kind of shape are you in as far as your vehicles are concerned?
By the time that I'm able to get those replaced, because there is a delay at Ford, because I don't even have my vehicles for 2023 at this point.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, so by the time I'm getting those replaced, we're well over 200,000 on the vehicles by the time I'm getting them replaced.
And at that time, then you'll have more that will need to be replaced.
I'm waiting on 7 right now for 23, 24, and 25.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any more questions for Ms. Byrd? All right. Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Smith. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Thank you. So now at this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the funding request or the budget for ACTS.
So moved, Mr. Chairman. Second.
We have a motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Bricken. Any discussion on that before we vote? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. All right, moving along, we'll move into our consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Make that motion, Mr. Chairman, then I have something to point out once it's seconded.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Smith.
And it's no big deal. It's just I'm a stickler for detail. But the copier lease, I guess that total is actually $6,668.92. You got $5,341.42. I think is the actual lease, and then the maintenance is $1,327.50. First one is on page 48. The second figure is on page 52.
Okay.
And that's a 5-year lease.
Yeah, 5-year lease, 60 months. So. When I first went through this, I was thinking the lease was $5,341.42, and I kept reading, and then I saw the little figure. I said, "Okay, this is a total of 2 figures then."
Yes, sir. Mr. Manager, can you confirm that? Okay. So, all right. So yes, that total, the 6,000, the number you had would be the total monthly
Payment, right? And the other thing, what I was really talking about is just a stick for detail. Mr. McCoy's name is not correct on here. I don't know if it matters or not. On page 56, they've got it Dwayne McCoy. I thought his name was Dwayne.
You got a pretty good eye, Mr. Because this is spelled the same way on page 52 as well. So.
Other than that, I'm good.
Okay. I'm sure we can get the name corrected on the contract. So. Yeah. So. All right. Are there any other discussions on the consent agenda? All right. Hearing none.
One thing I was going to ask on the Sharp contract, how does the ink play into that contract portion? Because ink is seemingly the most expensive thing now. Does that include?
It is
Include-
Okay.
contract we have.
Okay.
It's in the maintenance, I believe, somewhere. I read it somewhere.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure, because I saw that we have limited number of copies, and they seem to be plenty. I just wondered, okay.
Okay, any other discussion on the consent agenda? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. All right. We don't have any appearances tonight, so we'll move on to the public addresses to the board. I'll read the statement. If it's in here.
Let's see. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, here it is.
Yeah, no?
No, that's on the minutes.
Minute number 7. What is
I don't think we had the public addresses to the board statement. If we do, I'm overlooking it.
I missed it.
If you would, Chairman, just read what's on top of the sign-in sheet would be okay.
Okay, so, all right. At this time, we're going to open the floor for public addresses. We have a sign-up sheet. Each name signed up will have up to 3 minutes to address the board. The board desires to listen intently and respectfully to each person speaking. Therefore, in fairness to all involved, the commissioners will not enter into dialogue with the speaker. At this time, I'm going to call Mr. Jarvis Pegues. I hope I pronounced that right.
You did.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to approach and just provide some information real quick.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Board. My name is Jarvis Pegues. I am the county organizer for the New Rule Project. The New Rule Project is a nonpartisan 501c4 nonprofit organization that engages young and marginalized residents in rural communities to amplify their voices through increased civic and electoral engagement. New Rule Project works to eliminate barriers to engagement by listening to rural stakeholders and working together to develop community-driven solutions. New Rule Project focuses on 7 North Carolina counties that are some of the most economically distressed in the state, with higher than average unemployment rates and declining populations. And the reason for tonight, I just wanted to introduce this organization officially to the county, because we are currently voter canvassing throughout the county and going out to see the citizens, knocking at doors, just trying to see what their plans are for the upcoming election. And I just wanted to make the county aware of this. What we're doing inside of the cars, just as a safety precaution, we're also having these posters in their windshields or their back windows. So if you scan this, it takes you to the New Rule Project website so that you're able to see that it's a legitimate organization, just so that people aren't alarmed that people are coming out. But that was the reason for this evening. So
Okay.
Thank you for that time.
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. All right. Next, we have Mr. Terry Helms, I believe.
I would like to say thank y'all for it. I just got out of the hospital and rehab over here 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks in the hospital, and July the 15th I went in Memorial Hospital with a perforated appendix. I'm getting a little better, but I'm not quite there yet. But I wanted to make a special appearance to come tonight and tell y'all that I rode the Axe bus 2 times in my whole time, almost 9 years of being here in this county. There's a couple points I would like to bring up to y'all tonight, if I could. As I was speaking to Axe, the 11 o'clock turnaround, I was in Adjournment in Charlotte about 10:30, and the bus driver says, "We got to get back to Wadesboro. It's 11 o'clock. We got 11 o'clock turnaround." Well, it kind of disappointed me that the bus driver says that the commissioners had approved this, that it was 11 o'clock, and there wasn't but 3 patients on the whole bus, me, a veteran, and another person. But I did want to say I'm displeased with the 11 o'clock turnaround, and I hopefully don't never have to use Axe much more, but the thing I was wanting to bring across is that enactment of 11 o'clock is a bad time, because if you're stuck in Charlotte at Atrium at 11 o'clock, how can you be back in Wadesboro at 11 o'clock? So the other thing was I was going to tell you about, and I know the county can't afford it, but the $5 fee that you charge Medicare patients, where the Medicaid patients, the Medicare patients have a fee that it's a senior fee, but the Medicaid patients don't pay anything. I also wanted to bring that up for the board to listen to that commitment of that and see if there could be some revision on that status. But I just wanted to say in ending that I'm so thankful that my God taking care of me today, and I'm so thankful that I'm able to be on my feet today and be able to be here and ask y'all about these 2 questions today. And thank you for your time of listening to me about the 11 o'clock turnaround. This will be beneficial to somebody else in the future, will be beneficial to other people. Thank you, Mr. Brick, and thank you, Mr. J.D., and thank you, Mr. Caldwell. Thank you, all commissioners, for listening to what I had to say today. Thank you. Thank you. God bless.
Yes, sir. Thank you. All right, next we have Mr. Brian Ellerby.
Hello, everyone.
Evening.
Good to see you all, and it's good to be back home. I was born and raised here in Anson County, and after I came back from Carolina, yay, UNC Tar Heels.
Oh man, I'm sorry. We're not off to a good start here. So.
Okay. I was the health director here from 1988 to 1992, and I'm back home now as the health director. So I look forward to engaging you all and engaging the community to help our citizens be healthier and happier citizens of the county. So I look forward to working for you all, and thank you all for bringing me back home. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ellerby. All right, that concludes our public addresses to the board. So at this time, we will move on to our next item. We'll move to the manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Smith's telling me to get on the stick. Yeah. I had been asked to bring to you an update, if you will, on the tax collections, and as I was just told by a certain commissioner who shall remain nameless, he just received in the mail today his new tax bill. So that's good. We had, as you remember, had hoped to get them out the end of August or first of September. So we achieved that objective, and so we're on track.
We collected.
Yes, sir. But next thing is going to be writing that check or whatever to pay for it, right, Commissioner Smith? But part of that report, I think you have something from Mr. Newton in your package that outlines a lot of the actions he's taking now. And a question I had that wasn't in there was the amount of active payment plans. And so I asked Mr. Newton about it, and we have 112 active payment plans in place right now. And I asked further, so how much does that represent, right? And he says 100. Well, no. We also, besides those active payment plans, we also have several foreclosures underway. And I can report I've been checking on those as well as Mr. Newton, and they're progressing. The prices are going up steadily. Right now in foreclosure, we have almost $109,000 in collectibles, and those are finished. And the question is how much does that cost us in dollars? Because obviously, you know, we've got a firm that represents us. I think it's the Kania firm up in Nashville, and they're usually, depending on the complexity and how long it takes, $2,000 to $4,000 each. So, and what we normally try to do, obviously, is we place in so that the upset process that we go through we'll recoup that up front, and then the balance of it is what they owe in taxes, hopefully, and also penalties and interest. I have had people recently call me and want to know if the county can forgive the interest under state law. I'll trust my attorney to straighten me out if I'm wrong here, but we cannot forgive under state law the taxes nor the interest. Mm-hmm. What you can is any kind of penalty or advertisement fee. So other than those, usually, as you probably are well aware, if you've looked at them in the past, those are the de minimis or the smaller parts of what they owe. And so we're making progress on that front. Right now, they have backdraft, one they just approved that's for $47,000. It'll be paid out at the tune of $5,000 a month. Because obviously we'd rather not take possession of the property, we'd rather have them pay. And so that's why we're trying to work out the payment plans, even though we have to go to foreclosure route sometimes. Great. So that's kind of a quick down and dirty. If I'll try to answer any questions since Mr. Newton's not here. But if you've got any, we can take back to him and bring them to you at the next meeting. So we're making progress.
Just one, right. on item 11, the vacant staff position. I believe he talked about that when he was here last. What is that position?
He's got that the vacant staff member he has now. He's full in collections.
Mm-hmm. That's why I asked the question.
Collections is full, and this position is actually, if you'll recall, the peer review process okay. we had said that he needed to have a couple more appraisers, and so what I'd ask him to do was try to find an appraiser through recruitment. Okay. And also to change one of his current employees and let that person apply and move her hopefully up in the ranks to become an appraiser.
Okay.
So that's what I was thinking. It was on the backside of the tax office. So.
Thank you. I just wasn't sure and wasn't sure what it was. That's
right, sir. But and all the reports I get from our new collections personnel is that she's doing a great job.
Okay.
Great personality, very efficient. And so far, no problems.
Okay, it's great to hear.
And it's giving the person who is our deputy collector, Tafoya, it's giving her the opportunity to advance our collections process, if you will, relative to foreclosures and those types of things.
Yes. That was all part of the peer review that we underwent.
Absolutely.
So, okay. Well, I got one. I'm kind of like Mr. Woodburn. I hope it's just a misprint here, but under the newspaper ads, it says the cost is $15,000. Is that supposed to be $15 maybe?
Yeah, it's not 15.
that tax bill got expensive if it's 15,000.
Well, no, when we have to run all those pages of them, then it does get up to that amount.
So that's the total tax bill. Okay, I thought there was
not individual. No.
I thought there was an individual fee added. Okay, so.
Not unless they decide to increase it, then we're going to have to back up.
Okay.
Well, you said that that's one of the few things that could be waived is the advertisement fee.
Right. We've got some, well, Mr. Forbes has to address that because there are certain criteria that we have to do things in a newspaper of local circulation, which is a subscription type newspaper, not something that's usually produced because of the newspaper ads or that they handle.
And we only have one newspaper that meet that criteria in Anson County, so yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for the manager on tax collections?
I know we made an argument way back years ago that for that to be waived so we could use like the Express, because that gets into every home, and because not everybody subscribes to the Anson Record, and we couldn't swing it. So.
Okay.
And Commissioner, some of the people that's called me are a little confused about whether they're inside the town limits of Wadesboro. Nobody's asked me about the other towns yet, but whether they're there or whether they're actually in the county at large. And so we're able to let them know so that they know exactly what they owe.
Okay.
If we advertise in the Anson Record to meet the criteria, do we have the option to advertise in the Express as well, even though that doesn't meet the criteria?
Yes, you can do both.
Thank you.
All right. Any more questions for the manager on collections? All right.
If not, then the next item was the Water Resources Director position. And when I say update, it has been advertised. I think we've made all the changes that the board wanted changed. And this is just to see if there's any additional changes that you may have or want to suggest.
Any changes at this time?
No, everything that we talked about has been done, and I don't have anything else to add.
Okay. Can you refresh my memory when the first review of the applications are?
It's going to be within about 2 weeks.
Okay.
And it's kind of a moot point right now since we don't have any applications yet.
Okay. At that time, I guess we can address if we need to make any other changes to the application.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on Water Resource Director? All right. Hearing none, moving on.
If not, the last item I had for tonight's the Grievance Committee update. This goes along with your personnel ordinance. And I'll repeat, it's an ordinance, not a policy. And as of right now, I've reached out to some folks in the private sector since the board had asked me to do so. And I know at a previous meeting we made that request public, and so far I don't have any volunteers from the public. And I also suggested that people could also contact individual board members to bring back. And I'm not sure if any of you will have received anybody that's interested.
I'm not.
I have not myself. So, okay. Yeah.
So at this time, we still don't have a committee, and I guess we can continue to search and see if we can find someone who'd like to volunteer.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll continue working on that and seeing if we can draft some volunteers for that.
Sure. So. And if any other questions about any other topics, you all know that the 74 East Sewer Line is completed. I don't have any other news on it. And I think I let Commissioner Bricken know earlier that Mr. Collins at the AEDC, Randy Collins, if you will, wanted a support letter for an application. They've decided that it wasn't time for them to do a Golden Leaf Foundation application at this point, but the North Carolina Southeast, the economic entity that we belong to, they also have grants, if you will, and so he has applied for one. They needed letters of support, so as county manager, I provided them one last week, and I'll keep you updated as to how successful we are in that application.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Mr. Manager, how many committee members is going to be on the Grievance Committee?
My suggestion is that we have 5. There's actually 3 that would sit, and I would say have 5 because you may have a case or situation that happens where someone has a conflict of interest by either being a family member. And now I've got several, as I submitted to you previously, employees of the county, but I know the commissioners have said they'd like to have some folks from the outside, so you can have a mixture. The criteria was that it has to be a certified resident of the county who is registered to vote.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Just one other thing, totally different. The project over at the Belt Buildings, has that been successful so far as preventing water from getting in the basement?
It did not totally prevent the water from getting in. We didn't get 3 feet like we did back during Hurricane Florence, but we had I think it was about 2 inches deep actually in it. It's been dried out totally. I've talked to the state because obviously they were interested since the DPS workers are there. And so it's been handled by our facilities department. We got it dried out. I advised them to go ahead and get more dehumidifiers, if you will, for the ground floor, as well as the ones they had downstairs in the basement. So we're going to go back. We've got the contractor that we use who's looking to see what we can do. I think there's some cabling at the back that probably needs to. There's a foam application that can be used. And I've talked to Wendell about that, to actually seal that entryway, and I think that's where that small amount of water came from.
Is that something that the contractor will be responsible for, or if there's any additional cost, will that fall back on the county?
I've got my trusty attorney looking into it.
I stopped by, we're talking about the Belt Building,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
I stopped by the Belt Building, and it appeared, they said that it was because of a failed sump pump, and for some reason, they said that it was not their fault. I did not question Wendell further than that right now. I'll be glad to look further into that to see if it actually was the contractor's fault, because it was my understanding they were going to seal the building.
That's what I was thinking.
Is that not what everybody thought?
That's why I was asking the question.
For some reason, and that's where I was. I have not followed up on that since they said it was not. I thought that it had been taken care of. I'll be glad to give you a full report on it. I'll call you personally tomorrow if you'd like.
That's fine, whenever you know, man. That, like I said, that's the reason for my question. As I understood it, as this project was going along, is that the building would be sealed to prevent any water from getting in there.
Would need a sump pump.
Yeah.
I can understand having a sump pump there just in case, but it doesn't appear we would need one if the seal is properly done. Because they will seal on the inside and the outside, as I understood it.
Yes.
You're correct.
So I'm thinking sounds like just right off the top of my head is an issue with the contract. Apparently something not done right with the seal.
I'll be glad to check that out for you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Anything else for the manager at this time?
I was just gonna, unless you were gonna bring it up already, we're looking at the planning board and the board of adjustments that if we decide as a board to go with the recommendation that the board of adjustment and the planning board be one and the same, although two separate boards, would we need to have something in the next meeting to help us along that line?
If we need to have a public hearing on it, then I would suggest that we advertise it as a public hearing for the next meeting. It's 2 weeks, and if it's not enough time between now and the September 17 meeting, then I would suggest the first meeting in October. And my suggestion, since I've lived with it being 2 different boards, and I've lived with it being 1 board, and I would suggest that you give it an official name, something on the order of Anson County Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment. Something like that would work.
Right.
And also, unless Mr. Forbes has a statement that probably would be otherwise, but normally from my experience is, since your criteria for a variance or a special exception is more stringent than just changing the zoning district nomenclature, that you would do your Board of Adjustment matters first, and then because people have to be sworn in and have factual testimony, not hearsay or something they think, it has to be actual factual. And so that's entered into a record because that's a, what's the term, quasi-judicial type meeting. And so once that meeting is completed, I would suggest that the board then would adjourn for 5 minutes to reconvene as the Planning Commission.
So we would probably then need to keep moving on the process of combining, or not combining them together, but having the 2 separate same board members on two separate committees.
Correct.
Yes. And I think our planning director, Mr. Addison, had sent an email out just in the last week or so about that. So we will, I guess, forge ahead with getting that set up.
That's true. And I know we already have an issue with a project that's coming up. We're having a meeting here within the next week to 10 days on a fairly large-scale project.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think the manager's already made reference to it, and it may not be an issue, but I just be careful with it and make sure that we got our I's dotted and T's crossed, because I think they're separate for some type of a legal reason. So let's make sure that we're not creating any issues by combining them.
Right, and the legal reason is that when it comes to Board of Adjustment matters, as I said, that's a quasi-judiciary meeting, so people are actually sworn in. They don't just stand up and say, I believe this or I think that. They have to have factual information, and it's a sworn testimony.
Right, I understand. I was thinking that, and I might have the sequence wrong. I thought if you went before the planning board, and because I know somebody can come to the commissioners if they don't agree, but I was thinking that in certain cases, once the planning board made their ruling on, the person could actually go to the Board of Adjustments. Maybe I got it backwards. I don't know.
No, there are certain things that you're absolutely right. It just depends on what they're asking for.
And that's why I was thinking that it may need to be separate. But once you've researched, then we know for sure it's not an issue. Then
in those situations, you are correct, Commissioner. They would have to be separate panels with separate people.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Anything else for manager at this time? All right. We'll move on to the chairman's report. Just got a couple items I want to go over. First, I would just like to get an update on, I think it was back in maybe our June meeting that we approved to move to an electronic agenda packet going to a tablet. Where are we at in that process?
I'll have to let Miss Cannon answer that, because I know she has talked to our IT director, Mr. McCoy, about getting those tablets for the board.
We do have those in. We're now trying to find go to SharePoint to get it out to you all. So we'll be doing a training on that soon.
Okay.
I think our first priority, I've talked with you, Mr. Chairman, about getting a couple things in this room taken care of.
Yes, I understand. So thank you for that. So.
And let me throw something out there. Just I'm kind of wondering about in the back of my mind is, okay, just the board, it's going to change in December, and I don't just say, for example, if they're those tablets or laptops, whatever we got, if they're issued out before then, and then that seat changes, how will that changeover take place? Will it just something that the old commissioner passes it over to the new one, and it's seamless, or is there something that's got to be done to make it work, for lack of a better term? And my thinking is, and I know we still got a few months to go, but would it be better to just wait and give them out in January as opposed to now?
My opinion on the matter is, as far as the transition, in other words, that tablet will be property of the county.
Yeah, I understand.
And so, in other words, as a commissioner no longer retains his seat or her seat, then that would revert back to the county. It would be taken to IT, cleared, put the new commissioner's information, emails, things like that on there, and then it would be redistributed to the new commissioner, is how I would.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Wouldn't it be cleaner if it were given out after the first of the year? Or does it matter?
That's entirely up to the commissioners to decide.
Actually, it'd be the 1st of December, right?
Well, yeah, 1st of December. I say 1st of the year.
Yeah.
We got to get everything squared away. It'll take them all December to get it done.
Yeah.
That makes it even easier.
I mean, it's up to the board. And the reason I was bringing it up because it was approved back in June with this board, and so I just wanted to follow up on it.
And I'm not don't get me wrong, I'm not against it happening. I'm just saying that, saying the mag, it will be cleaner.
Yeah.
If it's done when it's going to last for a while.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on that?
So, Mr. Woodburn, are you making a motion to that effect?
I'll make that in a motion, yes, sir.
I'll second it.
All right, so we have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Gatewood to hold off on distributing the tablets until
January.
You want to say till January or to the January?
January.
Okay. So motion second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm going to oppose. All right. So motion passes I think it was, what, 5-1? So, all right. The second item I had was, and I apologize for not being in the agenda this time. At our last meeting, we had brought up the remote attendance policy for closed session. Our county attorney, Mr. Forbes, has presented us with a draft somewhere. He handed it out. You can look over this draft. We can decide tonight. We can table it, whatever the board's pleasure is. This is just the draft that he put together at our discretion or advice. So just what's the board's pleasure on moving forward with that?
Since there's only really two options, and I think they were both brought up a couple meetings ago, right now at this point I would make a motion that the way it reads is that no non-physically present commissioner is permitted to initiate contact with the Board of Commissioners during a closed session meeting of the Board of Commissioners. So at this time, I would make that motion that we move towards that.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Commissioner Bricken, second by Commissioner Gatewood, to implement a policy that no non-physically present commissioner is permitted to initiate contact with the Board of Commissioners during a closed session meeting of the Board of Commissioners. Any discussion on that?
Just, and I have no problem with that, but I think we all, as far as our rules of procedure is concerned, we need to have, in addition to this, guidelines for remote participation. I mean, this right here, I think is the main concern that everybody has, but my line of thinking is, what about other guidelines that need to be here? That, and I mean, if there's not a reason for it, then.
Now, when you say other guidelines, are you in closed session guidelines?
No, I'm not. Well, this covers.
This covers
just a regular meeting.
Okay.
What would be requirements or considerations for a commissioner participating remotely?
Okay. Mr. Forbes, can you advise the board on open session law, I guess?
As I've spoken with some of you that requested this, on open session law, it appears that anyone can call in. The only two restrictions that I've been able to find is that you can't vote, and you can't be counted as a quorum. That's from case law and statute. As a matter of fact, the recent Anson County case, it was found that you could not call in and you could not participate, you couldn't be counted as a quorum. All right, now, what I was also going to say is that it does not limit one from listening as our public is listening now. The only issue would be someone commenting or being allowed to comment in the meeting. In this scenario here, in a closed session, the only way with this motion here, the only way a commissioner could join the meeting, even to listen in or to give answers, would be is if someone from the closed session meeting called out. This just says that the commissioner can't initiate a call in, but y'all can call out to anyone you'd like.
And I agree with that.
That we spoke
Yes.
about on this. That's the way it was written.
Yeah. If the need arises while we're in closed session to contact a commissioner that's not present, we can do so at that time by consensus.
That's the thing I'm thinking about needs to be part of this policy. This right here is cut and dry, and this is good. I'm good with this, but I'm thinking if we're putting a policy in place, it should be all encompassing. So, and you mentioned two things that probably needs to be in writing so everybody knows.
Be more than happy to add that to something if
Well,
you
we
like.
can do that later. Right now, we're just doing this right here for closed session.
Yeah, so my motion would be, like you say, for closed session only tonight. And one thing I wanted to point out that's real important is the minutes from that closed session will be taken, and any commissioner who's not able to attend will get a copy of those minutes. So there's never going to be a time when we meet in closed session that the other commissioners won't be aware of what took place. So
Right.
that's real important to make sure everybody knows.
Okay, I'm good.
All right. Any other discussion on the motion on the floor for this policy? All right. Hearing none. Ms. Forbes.
After you vote.
Okay. All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. Yes, sir.
Mr. Woodburn, I'd like to, would it be all right if I called you about
Sure,
that?
sure.
Thank you very much.
Sir.
All right, moving on. I do have one last thing on the chairman's report. Just want to bring awareness to the Anson County Cooperative Extension 2024 Anson Ag Fair is set for Saturday, September 21st. The fair rules and regulation booklets are now available at Cooperative Extension Office and in various other locations around the county. The fair is sponsored this year by the Malero family in memory of Alan Malero. The fair book's available online as well. Information is also available on the Anson County Cooperative Extension Facebook page. The county fair portion of the 15th annual Anson Ag Expo and Fair will be held Saturday, September 21st at the Extension Center on McLaurin Street here in Wadesboro from 12 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Crafts, canned goods, ag products, photography, art, and handicrafts will be welcome for competition. Remember that fair participation is open to youth as well as adults. Registration for all entries will be taken in on Thursday, September 19th from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. there at the Extension Center on McLaurin Street. So, just wanted to bring awareness to that. That concludes the chairman's report. So now we'll move to any commissioner concerns. All right. Hearing none. We do have an issue, or actually two issues we need to enter into closed session. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into closed session to discuss personnel matters and seek advice from our attorney on pending legal matters.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Gatewood. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. I make a motion we come out of closed session.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Woodburn, second by Commissioner Mims to come out of closed session. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. At this time, we have no further business to conduct, so I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Mims, second by Commissioner Woodburn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned.
All right.